welcome to the Travillian Next podcast. I'm your host, Amber Buker, Chief Research Officer for Travillian, and I have got a conversation for you. Today I'm speaking with David Robinson, Director of Fintech and Embedded Banking at Academy Bank, based not far from me in KC, Missouri. Now, Academy has been building quite the name for itself, being dubbed one of Fortune's most innovative companies 2 years running, being recognized by Forbes as one of America's best banks, and achieving a remarkable 25% growth over the past decade. But what's really caught the industry's attention is how they've cracked the code on embedded banking partnerships. So today we're going to hear the story of how family-owned Dickinson Financial Corporation, which is the holding co for Academy Bank, how they achieved the fastest banking-as-a-service onboarding that Treasury Prime has ever seen. And whether you're a community bank leader exploring embedded banking or just simply looking for practical insights on organizational agility, David is going to give you some actionable strategies that you can implement now. David, welcome to Travillian Next.
Thanks for having me.
It is such a pleasure to get to hang out with you in this forum.
Yeah.
David and I connected years ago with the Alloy Labs Alliance when he was back at UMB. So excited to have you for a conversation here at your new role, David.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
So we're just going to dive right into it.
Yeah.
Academy Bank has done something really cool. You've achieved the fastest BaaS platform onboarding that Treasury Prime has ever seen for their whole network. So walk us through the specific organizational decisions and processes that let you move at that kind of speed. So where did you come in the process, and what did you do differently that other banks struggle with?
Yeah, I joined 2.5 years ago around now, but by the time I came on, I was hired to stand up the practice. So we were ready to go. The organization was ready to go. Had the full support of the leadership team. So it was about action when I got here. So I had no choice. And I did start with sort of polling the industry to see this platform and that platform and doing some comparative analysis. I think what we found initially was they're quite similar. So which one do we feel best about? Which one do we connect with best? Which one has the capabilities that we wanted? And that's what we centered around with Treasury Prime. I think we were just ready to go organizationally. I also think connecting external systems and integrations was a core talent of our team. I could step out of the way and our technology team could take over and get the job done. So I think when we were meeting with our counterparts with Treasury Prime, and we see this today with external parties, they're speaking the same language from the get-go, and just the connectivity and the coordination and the sequence of events is pretty straightforward. So that's how it happened.
Okay, so the API infrastructure and having that already kind of built out and ready to go was a key piece of moving fast. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah, I mean, and this is probably not a universal big number, but for our little small bank, I think we have 1 million API calls a day. Wow. Going around the organization. Now they're mostly internal, right? Not necessarily exposed externally, but we're fluent in that process. And when we start connecting external parties, it was not a tall task for us.
What about the sort of processes that you guys used as you were getting into this business? I know that you have a pretty interesting structure being a family-owned financial holding company. What was the decision-making like with the leadership there?
Primarily at the outset when we meet with new opportunities, it's me, our COO, and our CEO. And it's some mix of that. It's always me, and then either or of Tom Kentz, our COO, or Paul Holovinsky, our CEO, depending on what the opportunity might be. And we are just versed in terms of assessing the business, understanding the leadership team. Is it a business that we can understand and believe in? If there are many fintech partner use cases out there that don't have a well thought out, in our opinion, revenue strategy outside of what the bank can help prop them up with. So that is one eliminating factor straight away. If there's not a well thought out revenue strategy, if it's not a business that we can believe in more broadly, sometimes it doesn't get to a second conversation. But a lot of those types of things, we are straightforward business people. Paul's a business owner. He's a family business owner. So when we meet the leadership of of these organizations, we're assessing them from the get-go. They're assessing us too. So we need to show well, and they need to show well, because it's a partnership that will endure. We want to make sure we're doing that with the right party.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do have to be pretty choosy with who you take on as a BaaS bank. We've been putting out some research at Travillian lately about some of the banks that grew really fast and took on a lot of partners, but sometimes there's a concentration risk there if you take on a lot of, I call them lovingly baby fintechs. So how do you balance bringing on partners and growing the program, but, making sure that we're filtering out and managing that concentration risk? And
Yeah, we tell people we are super selective, as they should be, And so we have over time developed a target partner profile, and we push that out. That it speaks to culture and chemistry and financial acumen and commitment to compliance and overall maturity. And the bar has been raised. I've been here for 2.5 years. We've been, quote unquote, in the business for that long. And the bar has been raised in the industry and with us in terms of the type of organizations we meet with. So we try to put that on the table early, and that helps us filter out. Maybe we're not the right partner, the partner bank for them either. Maybe there's something about us that doesn't work for them, and we just try to isolate that at the outset.
And is there a diligence process before they get in front of the triumvirate of you and your COO and COO?
We have a pre-screen process that now is sort of tied to that target partner profile. There's I wouldn't say a full-on questionnaire, but there's an assessment that's done pre-term sheet and obviously pre-due diligence as we understand the business, and it hits those same things: maturity of the business, the leadership team, their experience, commitment to compliance, and just overall maturity of the business. And then if that's a go, well, is there a financial opportunity here for both of us? Does it work for both sides? And then from there, it's getting into further due diligence and working on the plan of building out their product and getting to a launch time.
And do you help with that? You take an active role in that, in the partnership, kind of helping them define what the product's going to look like?
Oh yeah, so we're very close with the partners from day one. Lots of conversations as we understand their product, what they want to build immediately, what they want to build long term. How does that compare to our capabilities and/or risk tolerances, to make sure that we're not just launching an MVP that we're okay with. We're launching an MVP that leads to a broader strategy that we're going to be a good partner for.
Cool. And talk to me about biz dev. Are fintechs just pounding your doors down? Are you getting emails from Treasury Prime every week? Like, how does that process work? And are you looking at developing more of your team to go out and be at places like Money 2020 recruiting?
Yeah, I would say it's certainly a healthy environment. I mean, I don't know if I remember what I expected. I remember early on there was some expectation that everybody we meet is going to be a great opportunity. Or something like that, and it's not the case. Yeah, you're weeding through, right? You're meeting with lots of different organizations, different stages of their life cycle. So that's why we had to develop that target partner profile, because to get out ahead of it. Initially, we met with lots, and I think over time we've refined it. We still meet with new opportunities that just might not be a good fit, and we know that from the outset. I don't see that as a waste of time. I see that as understanding the marketplace. We have had to pull the plug on a couple opportunities. One was post-term sheet into due diligence, and one was pre-term sheet, but almost at due diligence. And it's a bummer to do it, but we're better off for doing it. And in both cases, it was just overall maturity, and where they were in their life cycle wasn't meeting our standards. And we thought it'd be best just to pull the plug, and we did so.
And it's interesting because the further you go along in the process, the more opportunities you have to suss out things like that, right? Yeah. I mean, maturity, that's a very squishy
thing. And we've tried to put context to it by our target partner profile.
Right.
Your fundraising. What's your organizational structure look like? Who's responsible for this, this, and this? What does that look like? We've moved forward the financials in the conversation. That helps.
It's so interesting because that is like the classic sales motion, right? You build your ICP, you know who's a good fit for you, and you go find those prospects. It's so interesting to me because it's like very different posture than I think a bank is used to adopting. I mean,
yeah, so one example. So we treat it like we're underwriting. The same thing. Due diligence, underwriting, same thing. Our commercial lenders, the first thing they do is assess the financials. Well, in this land, we're doing fit and scope and product and risk, and financials obviously is a part of it early on, but it's not the first thing. But it's definitely a big component early on about the opportunity.
Yeah, and so you're probably having a lot of conversations where it's a matter of understanding your client and kind of selling, I would imagine, these fintech partners that you may think are going to be a really good idea, but you know that, so-and-so has this sticking point about, sending things to PO boxes, and that might be an issue.
Oh yeah, so right, I'm selling our brand into the marketplace, and we didn't start from nothing, but certainly within fintech bank partnerships, we weren't a player 2.5 years ago. We're still a growing participant in that. So it's who are we, being able to tell that story, and then also internally trying to. This was new territory for us 2.5 years ago. It continues to be new territory for us. How do I bring those partners along? Yes, the CEO and the COO, but also the head of compliance, BSA, risk, et cetera.
Yeah. And I mean, the good thing is that it seems like the bank definitely set up for this for quite a while, obviously putting in some of that tech infrastructure and sizing the market and bringing you in. Obviously, that's a big investment in talent. And so I'm curious, for other banks that are looking at this space and thinking about getting into it, now that we've seen kind of the first wave of players in this space and everything is shaken out a little bit from a regulatory perspective, sober, clear-eyed, looking at this as an opportunity for your bank, what would you tell people?
Stamina and endurance are critical. This is not a get-rich-quick line of business or foray, and it's not a foray. It is a real business that takes commitment, and we want it to be a meaningful part of our business. We do not want to become a fintech bank with a small little community app. We still want to be a community bank, and we want to have a meaningful fintech practice. Call us selfish. We don't want to have to choose. We want them both. And I think it's an endurance sport, takes stamina, and lots of communication, eyes wide open, and make sure you have a good team around you. I chair our fintech committee. It is our leadership team in each of the disciplines, and it is open season to challenge and courteously and professionally. But yeah, if we feel that something isn't right, we say so internally, and then we play that back. Maybe it's a question we didn't fully understand or something that we didn't cover. But all of us are stewards of the organization, and we need to do our best.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Well, exciting new movement, lots of growth. Fortune and Forbes and everyone is covering you. So everyone's watching and we're wishing you all the best. Hopefully this will help get the brand out there more. Are there any particular types of fintechs or stages of fintechs or areas of serving a particular customer niche that are kind of interesting to you right now before we go?
I think this preceded me, but we're very interested in the RIA and wealth management vertical, if you will. So that one is a straight to the top. What's that opportunity? We don't have a wealth management business. So that is an aspect of the world that we like, and if we could play a role in that would be great. We have consumer chops, we have consumer experience, we have all the scar tissue from consumer compliance. Our fintech practice is comprised of both consumer and commercial. We probably lean commercial B2B, but we will take on and partner with a consumer use case that we think we can believe in. And a home run for us is we partner with a use case. We help sponsor their execution and expansion, and then we white label it and sell it to our customers. And that would be like a super home run. Now, if that and we become an investor in that. And then if that all happens, I retire to an island. But right now, we're finding those opportunities, helping expand and execute. And then I think over time, we'll find that one that makes sense to bring back to our traditional customer. We already have a fintech partner that we've helped expand, and we have common customers between the two. We have our own traditional customers that are also customers of our fintech by happenstance.
That's incredible, and it really is one of those win-win scenarios. I'm sure all the fintechs out there listening are going, oh my gosh, a bank that will actually do all of that with me and consider investing and consider white labeling and really growing my product, because it is at the end of the day to the benefit of the bank for that product to grow as well, obviously, that rising tide. And to your point about earlier about, even when you talk to a fintech and it doesn't work out, it's not a waste of time. Things like this RIA and wealth space, where it's something that the bank's not in today, but if you have the right partner, you get to get close to that space. You get to learn a lot from them, and typically the founders came from that space or have some deep background there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great. I have a great seat in this awesome venue of the way a fintech thinks, and a leadership team from a fintech thinks, and then our team and a bank that I would call us progressive, but we're still a bank, and seeing how we both work together. In early July, we had our 1-year anniversary of our first partner, and it was a good celebration. Just sort of notes back and forth about, gosh, that was a quick year.
Yeah.
Is year 2 going to be quicker? And just great commentary and sentiment from both sides, from the bank to the fintech, or the fintech to the bank. So
wonderful. Well, speaking of fast year, I don't even think we said it. Your record with Treasury Prime, what did you guys set that up in 18 months?
From readiness was much less than that. And then we got into our super selective phase. Okay. And I think our first fintech partner, I think our strategy initially was, how about a simple, small use case? Because if we stub our toe, it's simple and small. Mm-hmm. But we found that the work effort for a simple and small is just as much to get across the line as a more mature one. And we quickly learned that we'd rather work with a more mature leadership team or more mature business, because there's very important matters that need to be dealt with earlier. And that's how we've been doing it going forward.
Perfect. Good advice. Okay. We could go on and on with practical tips like this, and I'm sure that other bankers are going to want to reach out to you, and a ton of fintechs are going to want to, find you guys. So, David, where should folks go to learn more about your embedded program?
Well, I'm academybank.com, and I'm also on LinkedIn. My Calendly's out there. I have meetings all the time, very easy to get a hold of. We're on the conference circuit. We're a active member of Alloy Labs Bank Alliance. We're an investor in Jam FinTop. So those are 2 communities that are very beneficial to our business. And we're in Kansas City, so come see us.
That's wonderful. And you're in Kansas City. I may come see you.
That's right.
I need some barbecue, right?
There you go. Come on up.
Okay, sounds good. All right, thanks for joining us, everyone.